All right, so Rob has asked, shared a replay of one of his attacks and says, "What am I doing wrong?" So first of all, thanks Rob for sharing this and asking for suggestions of what to do wrong. I see a couple other, especially new Town Hall 10s, struggling a little bit to get the Valkgasm down. And the fortunate part is that once you get it down on this Nemesis base, you can replicate the attack on all kinds of box bases. And Nemesis bases just become monstrously easy threes, and you can find tons of them out there in Champs and Masters 1, Champs 3 and Masters 1 to practice on until you get this perfect. So a couple things that I would say off the bat. What is the first mistake that Rob makes here? And the first mistake is probably, look, Rob has 5 spells now, which is a huge advantage over a Town Hall 9. But look at the troop levels. Well, that one's going to be the same. Nice hero levels, that's not the issue. Troop levels, it's mostly the giant levels. So if you look at giant levels against this base is a max Town Hall 10. At least as far as I can tell, with not only these level 4 expos that are in the middle are going to cause a tremendous amount of damage, make it really tough, but also these point defenses. If you're going up against a max Town Hall 10, and I would do this in raiding, but um, in war you would definitely want to bring 5 healers. So part of the issue I think is a failure maybe to keep it real and say, look, I have level 6 giants right now. Until I get level 7, let's go against some Town Hall 10s that have, max Town Hall 9 defenses. So that's probably the one issue. The second one that I see here is the Earthquake drop. So Rob sees this little barrier reef right here and rather smartly wants to get rid of that so that it doesn't affect the pathing. The problem here is that I think that the funneling is a little bit mistaken, or there's an error in the funneling. So you have the queen drop here. Your goal with that queen drop is basically, I have to remove this right here or this right here. Otherwise, the giants are going to go around. Except the way that this base is laid out, this guy put this non-defense here. There's not a defense here. There's not a defense here. This is not a defense. Whereas normally on the Nemesis bases they are. So he's already, you do have this cannon here, which it would be great to remove. But really, you don't really have to worry about it because you have this empty space right here that is going to cause your giants to want to go towards this sweeper, this here, and then if you funnel them right up through here, what is the closest defense? They could go over here, but then there's nothing over here, so the closest defense is going to be back into the core. So I think that probably would have worked out okay. So I think one of the problems is just the main problem, I think, is just recognizing where the funnel should go, and I see this on other attacks too. The funnel, you have your line of giants and wizards here, and then you're going to drop your Valkyrie, but you want to drop the Valkyrie and you want to have the wall breakers come up through here. And ideally the wall breakers should be here, but if you get them accidentally into here, then you're going to just clear out these defenses here, and you're going to have a nice path into the core. So that's not going to be a problem. I think the other thing that I saw here is the queen drop. So ideally, and I think ideally you want to drop the queen in front of an air defense. So you would look to here. This one is maybe accessible. It's not though, because look at this extra space that's going to be just out of range. So really, this air defense right here is going to be the only one that's actually in range. Part of the problem is dropping the queen up here when you should have dropped it down here, and that would have taken out this defense, and then you have a nice space here. But really, this space right here isn't all that much bigger than the space that we saw up here. So it really wouldn't have mattered. Against most Nemesis bases, though, you would want to drop her right here. That means you do have to deal with the queen, but over here you also, well, the cannon's upgrading, but there's also one less point defense. Well, that's not true. So here, dropping it on this side, you have 1 point defense it catches, 2 point defenses, 3 point defenses, and these are all max defenses that are going to catch. If you drop it over here, you probably only have this cannon is a little bit further offset, even if it's up. But since it's down, you can catch this one defense right here. And if you drop your queen over here, you can take out this point defense. It'll take out this army camp, and because of the space, she'll come in here, and she'll take out these two, and then she'll move up towards this cannon, and really only be taking 1 or 2 point defenses at a time. Whereas I think on your attack, you took 3 at a time, because you had this cannon, this archer tower, and this cannon all at once, and you still have to deal with this queen. So part of the problem is that drop. Ideally, the way you want to set this up, and even if you had picked the entry where you had, where you had picked it, I would have dropped. Let's see. I would have dropped, the queen over here. Take out this. But you're still catching 2 point defenses for quite a while, and the queen there. So that's something to think about. And then you gotta set your row of giants here, or use a golem in the, well, no, you wouldn't since you want Valkyrie 5. Make the core dive much more towards the center, and that's going to drive everything into the core. So let's go ahead and then the clan castle troops. So you want to drop a rage here. Get them into the core easily. Then you probably want to drop your heal, ideally somewhere around here, a little bit towards the outside. And then ideally you want to drop your freeze on the second one to maximize the effect of that heal. That being said, it depends a lot on what's in the clan castle. So if you see the clan castle trying to go around, and that's why it is a good idea to try to attack opposite the clan castle. So this entry point actually is pretty decent. So attacking opposite the clan castle, if something nasty comes out of there, you want to make sure your priority is dropping the freeze over the clan castle troops and trying to catch an inferno. So instead of trying to maximize the heal here, you want to catch, you want to use your freeze to catch everything, the clan castle troops that are coming out and that first inferno. So you're not going to maximize the heal, but you're going to prevent that clan castle from ripping you apart. So let's go ahead and I'll add a couple different points while I'm watching this. So earthquake, way too far out to the west. You want it more over in this corner. Queen drop. You dropped her way too far up so that she caught 2 point defenses, when if you had dropped her over closer to this corner, she probably would not have caught that cannon if it would have been way over here. Again, it's hard to tell on a raid because you can't see, but see, that's when she's out of range there. That would have been a good point to drop. You would have only caught those 2. Unfortunately, the expos are on ground. So yeah, that is a good point. That something to look out for. Max expos will just rip you a new one. So this one over here, being on air, could have made this side over here a better opportunity to drop, and there's no point defense over here. So that would have worked out better for you. The release here, yep, see, so you could have caught the freeze right here, and then it looked like I'm not sure where all your Valkyrie went. I don't know whether, I guess the clan castle must have killed it. But because you dropped the, so here, because you dropped the, the core dive here, and there were still defenses over here and defenses over here, it distracted the giants, and they wanted to remove this before they went into the core. Whereas if you had dropped it more here, they would have gone over here, and then it would have been a smoother path. If you had the two rages, that probably is what killed you, is that you had to use the rage for that queen. When you see the heavier the defenses are, try to be less aggressive with your queen walk. Your core dive, you can release it a little bit earlier and count on your queen. I mean, and it's a timing thing too. You can count on your queen to remove any, this cannon here. Um, by the time that this, this core drive, by the time this reaches here, you will have removed this cannon, and then they will have headed back in. So the key thing, I think, is just make sure you're coming in over here and not over here. Let's go back and watch the rest of the attack. And then, with these max expos, yeah. So this is a really tough base. So that's probably the kind of the first thing. Really tough base, giant 6, but then you just need to try to funnel much more towards the center and try to catch the clan castle in a freeze, just for comparison. And obviously, max heroes and max troops are going to make a huge difference. But just to show you, hopefully I did it the way I'm proposing here. So there, the earthquake much over there towards the off center. I don't have to worry about a barrier reef, but if if I had one, like on your attack, if the reef is right here, I don't really care because I'm sending all my stuff in here. So that's not going to bother me at all. My giants aren't going to try to go over here. They're going to want to go towards the closest defense. And so when you set the funnel here, you're going to remove this defense, you're going to remove this defense, and then they're going to follow this. This is going to be the next closest here, and then they're already going to be in the core just ripping stuff out. Queen walk, again, air defense is your primary target. Try to drop her so she doesn't catch this defense here, and try to have her move kind of slowly along out here. And obviously having max queen helps. So I get to the point where she hasn't quite taken out the defense for the funnel, but she doesn't have much more left. This is kind of a tough base, and there is the archer queen there. I catch an expo too because it's on ground. But then, so just to pause it here, this is even too far over to the left. I would have much preferred it to be about 3 areas over here. You're never going to do it quite perfectly. Adding the wall breakers and the wall breaker from the clan castle and the clan castle Valk early helps get that push. Make sure that you break that wall. Usually a lot of my fails on Valkgasm are not breaking that wall and having to send the rest of my Valks to break the wall, and then everything goes around the base instead of going into the core. So you want to make sure you have about 4 seconds between when you're funneling troops, break into the core, and your giants start going one way or the other to clear some space, and your CC Valks start going one way or the other to clear some space. And then by the time you drop the bulk of your Valk, there's going to be a wide open space, and the closest buildings are probably going to be towards the core. So there you can see they all go into the core. I don't have to worry about the CC, so I drop it on the second Inferno, drop the heal, and I've taken to, I like 1 golem with 8 giants. I think that adds a little bit more stability. You probably aren't going to lose a couple of the giants to spring traps. You aren't going to lose a couple of giants just to setting the initial funnel. So I know for you guys who are more concerned about Dark Elixir, that may be less ideal. But I think especially the tougher the bases you're going against, the more the more it would be good to have a golem in there. As you can see, the healers gather on the golem and are going to keep them alive for a little while. Unfortunately, the air defense takes out a couple things, but that's not that big of a deal. So at this point, typically you'd have the healer still on the queen, breaking through the wall, but yeah, anyway, So I just wanted to show mostly the initial drop concepts. I don't think your attack was all that bad. I think if you just, like I said, focus on how many defenses are going to be targeting my queen. Focus on getting the funnel right towards the middle,